Chair recognizes Mr. Davidson.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to review a couple dates. First, on February 29, 2020, the Trump administration signed the Doha Agreement with the Taliban. The agreement promised a conditions-based incremental withdrawal, and the Trump administration delayed that withdrawal precisely because those conditions were not being met. On April 11, 2021, the go-to-zero presence in Afghanistan was given by the Biden administration, and that was given freely by the administration, despite not being in compliance with the Doha Agreement. Your own Deputy Assistant Secretary Mark Evans testified before this committee that the decision to go to zero was not contingent upon the Doha Agreement. Secretary, one of the dates I really want to focus on is July 8th, 2024. That's the date that the total withdrawal was finalized by the administration, and the date certain. It's shifted from a conditions-based to a date certain. Is that correct?
The date certain was there, I believe, starting in April, when the president said we would follow through on the withdrawal that the previous administration had agreed to, except it was extended from May 31st to September.
So it was always going to be date certain, not conditions based.
Well, that was what the
so
Doha
that's what
agreement.
look. That's what you said. So when you made that decision, did the State Department block American citizens from departing from the airfield in Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan?
Absolutely not.
They didn't? Who
American
did
citizens.
then? Who blocked them?
I'm not aware of blocking any U.S. citizens. On the contrary, we were doing everything
You know
possible
they were
to get
blocked.
citizens
You
out.
know they were blocked.
I'd be happy to look at any information you have on that. I'm not aware of any American citizens who were blocked. And in fact, we were doing everything possible. And by the way, I want to thank you and thank every member who's been involved in this and the work that they did to get
Mr.
Americans
Secretary,
out.
your State Department blocked American citizens and Afghan allies from leaving there. I personally worked with your State Department during those days. I have the emails, I have the photographs of American blue passport holding American citizens who were on the airfield awaiting departure that got clearance for safe third countries to depart to, and the order came down from the United States government. Was it the State Department?
I'm not aware of any such orders. I'm happy to follow up and look at that. I'm certainly not aware of it. We were doing everything possible.
Last
to
year,
get
Colonel
Americans out.
Francis Hong, my classmate, testified before this committee that due to the fiasco in Kabul, many Americans and allies were forced to conduct a dangerous 400-mile journey to Mazar-e-Sharif Air Base, where they were delayed for weeks. Colonel Hong testified, quote, that we spent 3 weeks hiding these nearly 400 people from the Taliban, keeping them alive and fed using funds from American donors. All this while the State Department delayed and frankly blocked American citizens from leaving. Secretary Blinken, I have communications, as I said, that show this happened. And you're saying that didn't happen?
Why would we block Americans from
That's the
leaving
problem
Afghanistan?
I have.
Why?
I had it at the
We
time.
would-
Why?
Possible to get
And
them out,
here's
but
the
I'm
thing,
happy-
Mr.
happy to look at
Secretary.
the information.
As I was working with your State Department while you were Secretary of State and relaying this information, someone said to me, which tail number? Which tail number? You mean there's more than one plane you guys are blocking? Are you freaking kidding me? And then your State Department wanted to deny it, and here today you won't even acknowledge the truth of that. It's disgusting. To try to blame this on Donald Trump when we all know there is no way that anyone forced you guys to do the dumbest thing possible. You don't have to have worn our nation's uniform like I and other people did to know that first you get the civilians out, then the military, not the other way around. This has to be one of the dumbest, most poorly executed paths to depart any country possible. My only hope is that in the 11 embassy evacuations that have happened on your watch, an unprecedented number, you've somehow gotten better at it. It's appalling to see you sit here and say, oh, I express sympathy, and yet have never acknowledged the failures or own the consequences of it. In fact, to this date, the only person that's been fired was a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps who spoke out. None of you have been held accountable. None of you even expressed shame or embarrassment. Have you learned anything? Have you learned anything from this?
First of all, on the planes, just to come back to it, the Taliban was blocking planes. We worked to clear them. And I'm happy to go over that with you, with your office, and also to see any information you have to make sure that we get to the bottom of what you're saying. But we were certainly not in the business of blocking Americans. We were in the business of getting them out.
Well, I appreciate
and
you
continuing
did
to
create
do
a
that.
position after that to address the problem. So you clearly had to be aware of it. You created a position to facilitate the coordination after you left them behind. I
Of
yield.
course, we were determined to get every American who wanted to get out, and that didn't
Gentleman,
stop on August 31st.
gentleman yields.
We got 500 Americans out
Chair
between then and the end of the year
recognizes
because
Mr.
of that
Crow.
ongoing commitment.